Hi, I'm Travis Monson with Once Upon a Board Game. Today I want to teach you how to play Bonsai. This is a fun little tile laying game. Thematically, you're building bonsai trees. It's hard not to think of Daniel-san and the Karate Kid, right? It's got a lot of free-form creativity in how you can build your tree, but it also has a lot of card play. Where you're basically building a little tableau of cards that enhance the effectiveness and power of the turns you can take. It's really clever and it plays really quick. The games actually end a lot faster than you would think. It says on the box 1 to 4 players in about 40 minutes, but honestly I think you could easily play games quicker than 40 minutes. And it is a game that has pretty simple rules, so you could definitely play with with younger kids. This is definitely a family-friendly game. It's quick, it's fun, it's easy. Let me show you how it plays. Okay, as I said, I'm going to be teaching how to play Bonsai. Here's what you get in the game. First and foremost, you'll see there's enough player pieces for 4 players. We don't need the extra players, so I'm gonna set those aside. I'll just set them over here maybe. I also want to point out that there was, I think just this year, there was an additional expansion for this game. I think it's called the Wabi Sabi expansion, and that does add components to make it a 5-player game. So if you're so inclined, that does exist. It's out there. Obviously, there's a rule book. There's a board and a deck of, they're called Zen cards. There's a whole bunch of goal tiles, okay? There's 5 different types of goal tiles. It says just randomly draw 3 types, 3 different color goal tiles. So I got those ones. The other ones you just would set aside. You don't need them in the game. And it does point out if you're playing with younger kids, if it seems too much, you don't need to use the goal tiles. So, take it or leave it. There's a whole big bag of these bonsai tiles. There's wood, there's leaves, there's flowers, and there's fruit, okay? I'm gonna kind of just set this off to the side because maybe I'll put the rule book over there and put these tiles over here because I'm gonna need a little bit of space. One other thing I wanna point out, with the deck of there's 47 Zen cards. If you're playing with less than 4 players, you need to go through the deck, and in the lower right-hand corner, there is 4 little dots for the cards that you use when you're playing up to 4 players, or 3 little dots if you're playing with 3 players. So if you're playing a 4-player game, you'd use all those cards. With a 3-player game, you would take out the 4-player cards and only use these with the rest. But with a 2-player game, you would take out all the 3 and 4-player cards and just use what's left. So that's what I've done. I've already removed the 3 and 4-player cards. I've got this set up for 2 players. There is a little player aid for each player. Just to save space, I'll just use 1 since it's just me. Each player is going to get their own little pot and their little matching player tile. Once you get it, you're going to flip it over because you need the information on the front. I just pointed it that way so you can see that there are matching colors. Okay. One other important thing, in addition to, for a 2-player game, in addition to removing the cards that are marked for 3 and 4 players, you also, in a 2-player game, you remove the middle point objective for all of the goal tiles. So basically you just use the low and the high objective. So we'll take those middle ones out. When you get to this point, basically, so shuffle the deck of Zen cards and put 4 in the display to start. Obviously, determine the starting player. There's also a scorecard, a score pad rather, to keep score. We'll set that aside for now. Determine a start player. That player is going to get a single wood tile, and then going around the table in clockwise order, the second player will get a wood and a leaf. The third player will get a wood, a leaf, and a flower, and the fourth player will get a wood, a leaf, a flower, and a fruit. Okay, so you're going to start with more or less tiles depending on your turn and player order. Okay, so what are we trying to do? Obviously, as you can tell from the scorecard, there's a lot of different ways to score cards and to score points, and it's kind of summarized on the little player aid here. This is a game where you're trying to get the most points. The most points is going to win. The game end is going to get triggered when this deck of cards runs out. So when there's no cards left in the draw pile, that triggers the end of the game. And then every player, including the person who just triggered that game end condition, gets 1 final turn. Okay? So when the deck runs out, that triggers the end of the game is near. Everybody gets 1 final turn, including that player who emptied the deck. And then the game's over. Add up score, and the highest points wins. Okay? I'll come back to how we score in just a minute. So let me talk about how you play. Okay? First of all, again, starting with the start player, on your turn, you have 2 options. You can take what's called a meditate turn, or you can take a cultivate turn, okay? So you either get to meditate, which involves getting cards, or you cultivate, which involves growing your bonsai tree, okay? All right, so, and I apologize for the constrained table space. Hopefully as I start growing the trees, there's enough space. So we'll see how this works. All right, so let's talk about the meditate turn. When it's your turn and you choose the meditate action, that means you're gonna get a card, okay? You always have an option of any of the 4 cards that are in the display, okay? You never draw from the face down deck, okay? Depending on what card that you take, you are also gonna get possibly nothing or possibly additional bonsai tiles for the card that you take. For instance, if you take the card in this left slot, there's no additional bonus. If you take the card in this first slot, you can choose either a wood tile or a leaf tile. If you come here, you get both a wood and a flower tile. Here you get both a leaf and a fruit tile, okay? So depending on what card you take, you're gonna possibly get some bonsai tiles as well, okay? And whenever a card is taken, of course, you'll take the card. I'll talk about what to do with the cards in a moment. But then all the cards are going to shift to the right. They're going to all slide to the right to fill the empty space, and then you're going to replace what was taken. Okay? So let's talk about the cards. There's 5 different types of cards, and wonderfully enough, we have 4 of the 5 types written right or showing right here. One of the types of cards is a tool card. Okay? Let's talk about this card. If you look on each player's little personal display thing, it gives you a couple pieces of information. First of all, it has the number 5 written in the middle. The number 5 tells you how many pieces or how many little bonsai tiles you can have in your storage, okay? So at the start of the game, we are all limited to having no more than 5 bonsai tiles, okay? At the top of the tile, it tells you what bonsai tiles you are allowed to place when you take one of those cultivate actions. Basically, when you're building your bonsai, I am allowed to play 3 bonsai tiles, a wood, a leaf, and then one of my choice. Okay, so that's how the starting conditions for everybody. You can store up to 5, and when I play the cultivate to build my bonsai tree, I can play those 3 types of tiles. Okay, so that's the little piece of information. So depending on the cards that you get, you're gonna do something with them. So for instance, these tool cards, you see there's a little +2. Whenever you take a tool card, you basically just slot it in right to the left of your little starting player tile here. And that tells you now I have an additional 2 storage capacity. So now I can store up to 7 of these bonsai tiles, okay? So that's what these tool cards do, okay? Instead of a tool card, you could also take what's called a growth card, okay? There's a whole bunch of these types of cards. These ones get slotted in right here on the right-hand side, okay? And then you can see whenever I take that cultivate action to play, I now have an additional type of tile that I can play. So now if I were to build my bonsai tree, now I could play 2 of the leaf tiles in addition to the wood and one of my choice, okay? So the more of these growth tiles that you get, you could possibly have a turn where you could play 5, 6, 7, 8 tiles all at once because that's what your cards are telling you you're allowed to do. Okay, so the tool cards let you store more, the growth cards let you play more. Okay, that's how those 2 kind of cards work. Okay, then there's also these helper cards and these master cards. These helper cards, when you take them, they immediately let you place tiles into your bonsai tree. Okay, so basically, this kind of gives you like a dual. I'm gonna be meditating because I'm taking a card, but I'm also gonna get a little bit of a cultivate action where I'm gonna get to immediately place those 2 types of tiles into my tree. Okay, so that's what the helpers do, and the masters, they basically let you take additional tiles into your supply. So you'll take the tiles that are shown on the MasterCard in addition to, whatever is shown on the board from the slot you take the card from, okay? So, and there's one other kind of card, they're called parchment cards, and they basically just show additional ways you can score points. And I'll show those, I'll point that out when they come up, okay? Okay, I just want to zoom in on the score pad and the little player aid to talk about how you score points, how you're going to score at the end of the game. First of all, you'll see for the wood tiles that you have in your tree, they're not worth anything, right? So you're not going to score points for the wood. However, every leaf tile that you have is worth 3 points apiece, and you'll denote that score right here. Okay, every flower tile that you have is going to score 1 point for every empty space next to it. Okay, it has to obviously be connected to the tree. So the most you could possibly score for every flower tile is 5 points. So you add up the points for all the flower tiles you have, and you'll put it there. Okay, every fruit tile is going to just score you a flat 7 points. However, you can never build a fruit tile immediately adjacent to another fruit tile. That's illegal, okay? So you add up the 7 points per fruit tile that you have, put your score there. Then, of course, I just mentioned those parchment cards. We don't have any in the display yet, but the parchment cards are additional cards that give you additional scoring conditions. So you'll denote the points that you score for your parchment cards. And finally, you can mark here how many points you score for the goal tiles. Those things over there that we set up at the beginning of the game. So that's how you're trying to score. The most points wins. Okay, so we talked about the different types of cards, okay? And like I said, on one of those meditate turns, you're gonna simply take a card and possibly any additional bonsai tiles into your storage. You put the card wherever it fits, if it's either a tool card or a growth card, or just take the immediate benefit from the helper or the master and then just put the card face down to the side, right? You don't need to check your limit for how many bonsai tiles you have until the end of your turn, okay? But at the end of your turn, if you're over your limit, your storage limit, you have to discard down to whatever your limit is, okay? Before your turn is officially over, you can also check, have I met the conditions of one of those goal tiles? Now, one thing I want to mention with these goal tiles, basically they give you different objectives. Of course, this, the orange tiles at the top, those are objectives for having a certain number of fruit tiles in your tree. The green ones there, it's having a certain number of adjacent leaf tiles in your tree. And then the ones on the bottom are just, those goals are for having a certain number of wood tiles in your tree. Now, one important thing to note, whenever you qualify for one of these tiles, like, so let's say at the end of my turn, I had, because this 5-point tile here, it says I want to have 8 wood tiles in my tree, okay? And the moment that you qualify for one of those tiles, you can claim it, right? However, first and foremost, you can only ever claim one of each type of tile, right? So I could not claim multiple wood tiles. If I got a whole bunch of wood, I could not have, both of those. You can only ever get one per type, okay? But an important distinction is the moment you qualify for the first tile, you immediately have to either take it or effectively renounce your claim on ever getting that tile, okay? So if I say, you know what, I don't want the 8 wood tile for 5 points, I'd rather shoot for getting 12 pieces of wood to score 15 points instead. So I can renounce my claim on this one in the attempt to get this one. But later, like at the end of the game, maybe somebody gets it before me. I'm like, oh shoot, now I get nothing. Or, maybe the game's about to end and I realize I never quite made it. I'd rather go back and get this. No, you can't do that. You can only get it the moment you qualify for it, or you renounce it, and you can never go back to get those lower tiles. So it's kind of a push your luck, kind of you're taking chances, you're playing a little bit of a risk game. If you want to push your luck to get the more valuable higher point tiles, okay? So you either get them the moment you qualify, or you renounce your claim on that one with the possibility and hope of getting a higher point tile later on. Okay, so that's how those goal tiles work. So you would always be able to do that at the end of your turn before it goes to the next player. Okay, so again, so far we've talked about the meditate action, and that's what I want to do first. I really want to get this tool card to increase my storage capacity. So I'm going to do that first. Then of course everything would slide to the right, and then we replace it. Oh, perfect example. Here's one of these parchment cards. One of these cards that give you additional scoring conditions. This one is going to tell me at the end of the game, I'll score 2 points for every one of these helper cards that I have. Okay, so that gives you a little scoring objective. And Allie's thinking, you know what? She wants that. She wants a chance to score some additional points. So she'll take that and she'll set it off to the side. Okay, so we refill. So here's another growth card. You can additionally play a fruit tile, or I'm going to take this one where it lets me play an additional leaf tile. And so since I took it from here, I can take either a wood or a leaf. I'm going to take a leaf tile. Okay, so that was my turn. It slides down, it comes up. So we haven't done that cultivate action yet. We're just still doing these meditate turns. However, Allie sees a good little opportunity. She's going to take this helper. So for taking this helper, she first of all gets a wood and a flower. So a wood and a flower tile. So she puts them here. And then this helper says she can immediately play into her tree a wood and a tile of her choice. And whenever you build, you can build totally freeform, however you want, with a couple of caveats and a couple of restrictions. Okay, here's the type of tiles that you see in the game. Okay, first of all, you get just the standard wood tiles. Those can be placed anywhere adjacent to other pieces of wood. Okay, obviously it's, the tree trunk and the limbs and branches of the tree. So build that freeform however way you want. As long as a wood is touching at least one side of another wood tile, it's legal. You can play it however you want that way. The leaf tiles, as you can see, there's a little bit of brown on the edge of that leaf tile. When you play a leaf tile into your tree, it has to touch at least one side of wood. So you see how the little brown matches up to the wood, okay? And then you may imagine with the flower tile, that has to touch at least one side of a flower tile, something like that, right? Makes sense? Now you'll notice with the fruit tile, there's 2 sides of leaf. So basically to play one of those, you would basically have to have 2 of these leaf tiles touching wood, right? And then you could put the fruit touching 2 pieces of leaf. Okay, So something like this is totally legal. Like the flower could go over here because it's touching a leaf. Both leaves are touching the wood. The fruit is touching two different leaves. So as long as you follow, and again, you can never have a fruit tile immediately adjacent to another fruit tile. You know, something like this is illegal, right? So as long as you follow those restrictions with wood touching wood, leaf touching wood, flower touching leaf, and fruit touching two leaves, you can basically build however you want. Okay, so Allie took this helper card, and in addition to the wood and the flower tiles that she got, she also, this helper says she can immediately play a wood tile and a tile of her choice. So she's gonna say, you know what? I'll play a wood tile there, and maybe I'll play a wood tile there. She's gonna start building the foundation for branching off and doing other things later on, okay? So she'll stop like that. So that was her helper. She did a meditate turn of getting a card, which gave her tiles, but also let her play tiles. So then she just sets this aside. And she wants to keep in mind, she's going to score 2 points for every one of these kind of cards. So she's excited that she got this card, right? So she wants to get more of these kind of cards over the course of the game to score more points. Cards all slide down. We replace what was taken. And then it's back to me, okay? I still don't really have many tiles to place. So I'm thinking, you know what? I want to take this master. If I take this guy, I get, first of all, the leaf and the fruit for taking the tile from the last slot. But this helper says I also get another leaf and a flower. Okay, so I just took 4 tiles. Now, normally, if this were Allie, that, you see I have 6 tiles now. Normally, the storage limit is 5, but this tool card increased my storage capacity up to 7. So I'm still good. I don't have to discard anything. So I put the master card face down to the side. These all slide down, and we replace the empty slot, or we refill the empty slot, rather. And it's back to Allie. She'd like to maybe build again, but she doesn't really have a lot. So she's thinking maybe she wants to get something that's going to give her more tiles. And doing something like this makes it easier for her to build fruit. So she's going to take this growth tile, slot it in here, and then that gives her a leaf and a fruit. So she'll take those. Okay, these cards all slide down. Oh, look at that. There's another parchment tile. I'm going to go ahead and grab that while I can. Okay, so I'll just do that for my turn. Then we refill, and then it's back to Allie. Okay, it's Allie's turn again, and she wants to get another one of these helper tiles because of her parchment card that's going to score points for every one of these that she takes. So taking this tile, she gets either a wood or a leaf. Now, she's thinking she's going to be able to play a few of these things here. She wants to take maybe one more wood. Okay, and then she gets to immediately play a wood. That's why she wanted to take a wood. She gets to play a wood and a tile of her choice. So she'll put a wood maybe right here. And then she can also play one of her choice. So she'll put maybe her first leaf in the game. Okay, so that was this card. She got to take one of her choice and then play those 2. And then this slides down. It's back to me. I'm thinking, you know what? It's about time for me to start building, but I'm really low on wood. Maybe I'll take one more of these kind of cards, one more of these growth cards. So taking from this lot, I get a wood and a flower. Now, I'm going to have to discard one because now, and I put the card there, of course, but now I have 2, 4, 6, 8, and my storage capacity is 7. So I say, you know what? I will discard. I don't want to discard a leaf because I have a tile that lets me score for leaves. So I want to be able to play all those. I'll just discard that one extra flower. That was bad planning. I probably should have built, or I should have cultivated before I took another card. So be it. Okay, back to Allie. Allie, she doesn't have a whole lot. She wants to really kind of maximize being able to do a good cultivate action. So cultivate action. So she will, if she can take, she's going to get this card because it's going to let her build more when she does cultivate. And then she will take an additional wood. No, she'll take another leaf. Why not? She'll take a leaf. So the growth card comes there. This slides down. And now it's my turn. And now I want to point out, okay, so now I haven't really talked about it because pretty much all that Allie has done have been playing tiles with these helpers, okay? But now I'm going to do an actual cultivate action. So when you cultivate, you build based on, what you have allowable in front of you. So if you can see the tiles or the pictures of the tiles that you see at the top is what you're allowed to build. So I can build, anytime I do a cultivate, I can build a wood, I can build 2 leaves, I can build a flower, and then one more tile of my choice. So I'm probably gonna need one more wood just to give me some flexibility. So one of my choice, a wood, 2 leaves, and a flower. I can play all those tiles when I do cultivate, okay? So now with those restrictions, so maybe I'll come to the side here. Let's go like that. And maybe I'll put a leaf here and a leaf here. Okay, and then I'll put my flower, I'll put the flower down here. Okay, ideally I want to keep all those sides of the flower empty because every empty side on a flower is a point. Okay, all right, so that was my cultivate action. I played those 5 tiles. Okay, it's back to Allie. She'll take another one of these helpers. Okay, so first of all, it lets her take a leaf and a fruit. So she can take another leaf and a fruit tile. And then she immediately gets to play a fruit tile and a tile of her choice. So the tile of her choice, so in order to be able to play a fruit, it has to touch 2 adjacent leaves. So the tile of her choice needs to be another leaf. She needs to put a leaf next to the other leaf so that when she plays a fruit, it can touch 2 leaves like that. Okay, so that's illegal for Allie. So that was her helper card. It let her take some tiles and also build. So these all slide down and we draw another one and we keep going like that. Okay, so again, at the end of every turn, it's a little bit too early in the game to meet any of these goal tiles yet. But at the end of every one of your turns, you look, have I met one of these objectives yet? Having 5 leaf tiles all adjacent to each other, having 8 wood in your tree, having 3 fruit. Okay, none of us have done those yet. Okay, one thing I want to point out is with these wood tiles, the little starting little brown nub, that does count. That does count as one of the tiles that you need for meeting those goals. So just an important clarification there. Okay, but I'm going to maybe fast forward a little bit to show you maybe what the tree's going to look like a little bit later on in the game. Okay, I wanted to just reiterate and provide that reminder about the storage limit, and that happens at the end of your turn. Okay, so for instance, Allie on her turn, she wanted to once again double down on these helper tiles, which gives her a wood and a flower tile, first of all, for taking the card from that slot. But if you look right now, she's got 2, 4, 6 tiles. Her limit is 5. All right. Right now, it doesn't matter because her turn is not over yet. You check your storage limit at the end of your turn because this helper, he lets her immediately play 2. So even though she took 2 and she temporarily went over that limit, she's going to get to play them and then she'll be back under the limit. She won't have to discard any. So that's an important distinction. As a reminder, you don't check your limit and possibly discard until the end of your turn. Okay, because Allie would still get to play a wood and a tile of her choice. She'll also say, maybe she'll play a wood over here and she'll play maybe a leaf right there. So that would be an example. So now she's under that limit of 5, so she's still safe. She doesn't have to discard anything. So that's an important clarification and reminder that you check your limit at the end of your turn. Okay, the game's not quite over yet, but we're close. There's only 2 cards left in the draw pile. On Allie's last turn, she did a cultivate action and she was able to place another fruit. And so at the end of her turn, she claimed this goal tile for having 3 fruit. This close to the end of the game, she doesn't think she's going to be able to get 5 fruit. So she says, you know what, I'm not going to renounce this. I'll just take this. So she's going to score those 9 points. Okay, so then it's back to me. I'm at my limit of 7, so I'm also going to take a cultivate action. So what can I play? So first of all, I can play a leaf and a fruit and a flower, 2 more leaves and a wood. So 2 more leaves and a wood, and then one of my choice. Wow, I can play all 7 of these tiles. That's fabulous. Okay, so let's put them up here. Let's see, how can I make this work? So can I get up to 9 leaf tiles adjacent? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I can't get to those ones. So I'll be able to maybe get this bonus tile. So we'll see if I can make this work. Maybe I'll keep my tree going sideways. It's a little crooked. So then I can put a leaf there. I can put a leaf there. I can put a leaf there. I could put a leaf down here, but I don't necessarily want to touch it next to my flower, right? So I'll put it over here instead. Okay. So I can also put another flower and I can put another fruit. So I cannot put a fruit there because you can't have fruit adjacent. I can put it there, for instance, though, right? That does work. Okay. So again, right now I would look at the goal tiles. I could have said, oh, the 3 fruit. I'm like, oh, Allie, you suck. You beat me 1 turn. You got it 1 turn before me. So I can't do that one, and I don't have 5, so I can't claim that tile. I do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 leaf tiles adjacent to each other. I don't think I'm going to get 9 before the end of the game, so I will claim this one. Okay, so I can claim those 6 points, and then having 8 wood. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We both only have 6. All right, so neither one of us are going to get that one yet. So that was my turn. I cultivated. Back to Allie. It's her turn. First of all, she wants this card a couple of reasons. She was able to get the parchment where she's going to score for all these master cards, but also this lets her take 3 wood and a flower. So she can take 3 more wood and a flower. And now, if she can play, she already has 6, so if she can play 3 more wood, she'll have 9. She'll be able to get another gold tile on her next turn. So she's excited about that. Okay, so she took that master tile, and these slide down. And so now there's just 1 card left in the draw pile. I want to get tiles so that I can maybe have 1 more build action. So I will. You know what? I have a card that also lets me score for these growth tiles. So I'll take this, set it there, and I'll get the wood and the flower. So now the end of the game is triggered. Boom. There's no more cards in the draw pile. So the end of the game is triggered, meaning every player, including me, who just triggered the end, we each get 1 final turn, and then we add up scores. Okay, so Allie's like, of course, you better believe it. I'm going to try and maybe build and get some more points from building my tree and claiming that goal. So Allie wants to take a cultivate action. She can play a flower, she can play a wood, she can play a leaf, she can play another wood, and one of her choice, she'll play that other wood. So she can play all these tiles. Okay, so it really doesn't matter where she builds. She can just kind of make it look fun. She doesn't want to get something adjacent to her flower, so maybe she'll branch off her tree like this. She'll put a leaf over here and maybe a flower like that. You know, or maybe she'll put the flower up top like that. Sure, why not? Before Allie's turn was over, she did want to claim this. She had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She had 9 wood, so she will claim this gold tile as well. And I think, oh man, you suck. You probably just won the game, right? Then back to me. I will do that final cultivate action. So I will just put this here. And oh, you know what? I was dumb. I should have put this fruit over 1 more on my last turn so that I could have a flower that wasn't touching anything. Oh well. I'm dumb. I didn't do that. I wasn't thinking ahead. So I will put a flower right there. And I'm done. So now it's time to add up the score. So let's see how this works. All right, so first of all, the first thing we have on the score pad is leaves. Okay, if you remember, 3 points for every leaf in your tree. So looking at mine, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 leaves times 3, I get 24 points for leaves. Allie has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 times 3 is 18. Okay, next we score the flowers. Again, 1 point for every side of the flower tile that's not touching anything else. Okay, so this guy has all 5 sides not touching anything. So that's 5. This guy has 1 side there. So he's got 1, 2, 3, 4 sides not touching. So that's 4 points. This guy has all 5 sides empty. And this guy has 4 of the 5 sides empty. So 4 for this guy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 5 and 5. So 10 and 8, 18 points for my flowers. And Allie, this one has 4. This one has all 5. This one has all 5. So 5, 10, 14 for Allie for flowers. Okay, next we score fruit. 7 points per fruit. I've got 3, Allie's got 3. So that's a wash. We both get the same 21 points for that. Okay, next we look at parchment cards. Okay, parchment cards is the next thing we score, and then gold tiles. Well, let's just get the gold tiles really quick. I got 1 gold tile for 6 points. Allie got these 2 gold tiles for 9 and 5. So she got 14 points. Okay, so now we're going to see how we did on the parchment cards. So Allie's got this parchment card, and this parchment card, and this parchment card. Okay? And I have this parchment card, and this one, and this one, and this one. All right. So let's do Allie's first. This one, like we talked about at the beginning of the game, 2 points for every one of these helper cards. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. 10 points for that one. This is 2 points for every master card. So that's 4 more points. So 10 and 4 is 14, right? It was 10 for the one, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Yeah. So 14 points for those.
Plus, this one says, hey, this does let her score 1 point for every wood. And again, just like when you're claiming the gold tiles, the little nub does count as one of your woods. So she's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 wood. So this is 9 points plus her 14. So 23 points for parchment cards. Okay. Now I get 2 points for every fruit. So 2, 4, 6. So that's worth 6. 2 points for every flower. 2, 4, 6, 8. So 6 and 8, that's 14. Okay. This is 2 points for every growth card. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 10 points. Okay. So that's 14 and 10. So 24. And then 1 point for every leaf. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8. So 24 and 8. Ooh, 32. I did great with the parchment cards. So I think I may have just won. Haha. We'll see. 90 to 101. Woohoo! I won. One thing I forgot to mention, I'll say it really quick. I won the game, but if the game does end in a tie, there is a tiebreaker rule in the rule book. It says the tiebreaker is basically the person who's farthest away in player order from the start player. So basically, the last player in the game, would win would break the tie. So whoever went later in turn order at the start of the game, that breaks the tie. However, I think there should be an unofficial way to you vote on who has a prettier bonsai tree. No, I'm just kidding. So anyway. Highest score wins. In case of a tie, whoever went later in turn order is going to break the tie. Before I end the video, I want to talk about, in the rules, there is one variant. It talks about this Japanese tokonoma variant. And basically what that means is, well, it has some meaning with Japanese culture. I can't remember exactly. It has a little description. But what it talks about doing is you take all of these parchment cards and basically you take the whole deck of all these cards, right, as you're getting ready to set up the game, you take the deck, you split it in half, and you make sure that all of these parchment cards are shuffled into the top half of the deck, okay? So once you've done that, then you put the top half of the deck on the bottom half, and then you can play. It guarantees that all these cards come out earlier in the game, so it gives the players a chance to collect a goal and to kind of focus in on it. You can hone your strategy. Because some of these might not come out to the last turn, and so like, oh, well, I'll take it because it's a couple of points, but had I known that sooner, I could have done things differently, so to speak. So that is a little variant. You basically make sure all these parchment cards are shuffled into the top half of the deck. And that's how you play Bonsai.
So that's Bonsai. As you can see, it's a really simple game, and it's a lot of fun. I really like how you can be totally, free form and creative with how you're building your little bonsai trees. And the turns are simple. It's just either, meditate, take a card, or cultivate and build the tree. And, it's funny, the game ends a lot quicker than you would think. That game end sneaks up on you because the game ends when you run out of that stack of cards, the deck of cards. And you spend a lot of the game early on trying to get more and more cards to get a better tableau so that when you do take that cultivate turn, you can do a whole lot all at once. And all of a sudden the deck's gone and you feel like you haven't done very much. So it really sneaks up on you. You have to kind of balance when you're going to stop building and, stop taking cards and when you're going to do more building. So it definitely has that good balance, and it takes a couple of plays to figure that out, but it's really quick and easy and a lot of fun. Like I said up front, it says 1 to 4 players in 40 minutes, but you can easily play quicker than that. And it's very family friendly. It's really easy for younger kids to play. It's a very, very family friendly game. But we've had a lot of fun with it, and hopefully you can understand, how to play. Hopefully this video has taught you enough to just sit down and pull it out and play yourself. If not, I guess I didn't do a very good job. But let me know if you have any comments or feedback or critique. I'd love to hear how I can get better. And if there's a game you want me to cover, let me know. I'd appreciate a like or a subscribe and any feedback or comments you want to provide. I appreciate your time and your willingness to watch. Thanks again. Travis Monson, Once Upon a Board Game. Thanks.